All right, welcome everybody to the FLOPBUSTER movie show live with Tony, Gabe, Victoria, and now Lee from
Maybe Gabe.
Drumdums, and maybe Gabe. Gabe's just a black screen there. I'm just going to remove that till he actually comes in there. Lee, thank you for coming on tonight, man. We talked off camera. We've known Lee through Killer Flicks for Victoria 6 years, for me 5 years, and this is the first time.
Well, I have
we
to
get
think I
have you on
joined
the
at the
show.
end of 2017.
That's crazy.
Something
Yeah, I
like
was going to
that.
ask you, Vic, too. Like, when did you join? Yeah, because it was
Something like that.
Because you joined pretty quickly after we started. I think when you joined, we might have had like 1,000 people. Something.
Yeah,
maybe.
it wasn't very big yet.
It wasn't it? Yeah. So there were more questions of the day back then.
Oh my god! What's your favorite Halloween movie? What's your
Yeah.
ranking?
Oh my god, the complaining about well, after Halloween 2018 was announced, not even before when it came out, but when it was announced. Oh my god, everybody went ape shit. Stop talking about Halloween. Stop it. Stop it.
There was a lot.
The call out posts.
There was a lot about me too. I had my the running joke about Halloween Resurrection. I
was going to bring that up. Yeah.
You got a whole bloody disgusting article written about you because of that.
Yeah. Oh,
you remember that?
Yeah, that's right. Bloody Disgusting wrote an article. They thought somebody was actually starting a petition to get Scream Factory to do a 4K commentary track with Busta Rhymes for Halloween Resurrection.
That.
Yeah.
Did you get? Were you the one that started that?
Maybe Scream Factory, that was back in 2018, and now they're in the 4K business. The transfer looks pretty damn good on that movie. So
I got an accidental Bloody Disgusting article too back then. It was in Halloween 2018. I saw this image of Laurie Strode, and she's got the hat behind her on the wall. And I posted it somewhere, and Bloody Disgusting grabbed it, and they even I think they put my name on there or something like that. I didn't own the photo or anything. I was just acknowledged it. But I was like, hey, look at that. I got a Bloody Disgusting article.
Nice. We're forever in the history of Bloody Disgusting. One for a joke, and yours for a legit thing that you noticed. a hat and a fake petition.
Why can't that hat stir up as much controversy as Halloween Ends?
Oh my god!
Which we're gonna get into because
which is a good movie, by the way.
Good movie, very good movie.
I swear, just today, I'll just go ahead and say every single day I get comments about Halloween, and they're not just normal, regular civil comments. This movie completely ruined the franchise, and they're so angry.
Broke up marriages.
It did. I'm
the
sure.
dawn is coming.
When we saw it, all I tweeted was Halloween Ends effing rules. That was it. It's 1,000 likes, 500 retweets. You should never watch movies again, this and that. I'm like, okay, relax. It's fine.
I guess we could talk about it. It's funny. That's the first thing that we mentioned to you, but it's the one thing that I feel when it comes to those movies, Lee, you're a huge Halloween guy. When it comes to those movies, the one thing I wanted out of the David Gordon Green movies was, as much as I love 2018 and it's a crowd pleaser, it's essentially back to basics. It's a formula, but it's a formula done right? It's okay. We got the shape stalking. We have Laurie doing the Sarah Connor thing. But at the end of the day, it's a movie you see with a crowd, and those are the best bits of it. That feeling you get when you're in the theater. What I wanted out of the sequels was, okay, what are we going to do that's going to, I guess, flip the script on its head? And that's what Halloween Ends does. It's completely different. I think in a few years' time, we're going to be ahead of it, obviously. There's going to be a big change of opinions from people who didn't like this movie.
I'll say this, a couple things. People don't know what the fuck they want. I'll say that
That's true.
now.
Period.
Because if you give them what they want, then they'll complain about that. Because if you give them 3 movies of Michael and Laurie fighting each other, they're not going to be happy with that.
They're not going to be
happy.
You
would think that that's what they want, because they get so mad that they try something different. So with Halloween, I think because fans are so freaking passionate about it, and how dare you have this 21-year-old beat up Michael Myers, you would think that made people change their religion or something. They got so freaking mad. But I'm like, if you look at the context of the story and how Myers is kind of on his way down, Corey's not a human being now. He actually has the power of the evil, and he's on his way up.
Right.
So in the context of the story, it makes sense. But it's not their story. So
It's also, I was telling Vic, while watching the movie, the one thing that struck me was like, I love David Gordon Green's early movies. I like Pineapple Express a lot. The way he shot his movies, like Pineapple Express, George Washington, Snow Angels, they're dramas. They're like human dramas about people that are extremely flawed. Joe, another one with Nicolas Cage that's very weird, very grounded. Halloween Ends is shot exactly like those movies. It feels like an early David Gordon Green movie, but also with the mix of John Carpenter's Christine, which watching the movie, I had no idea. Going into it, all I knew was the mixed reception. So I see you guys like you saying you love it. Everybody's all over the map. And Gabe was actually the first one. Gabe saw it and said that he loved Halloween Ends. Like he texted me, we were going right into it. And I told Victoria during the movie that
with my dad.
At that moment, I said, this is one of the best entries in the series. Like it looks legit. It's shot so well. The music is so like every part about it, the technical aspects just feel like fresh and exciting. And just like I felt amped coming out of there, like that they took a risk with it. Regardless,
I liked not knowing where the story was going to go.
That's my main thing was like,
just I was like, oh, what are they going to do now? It's just
that opening shocked me. The opening,
oh my god,
the kid was just like, oh my god, this is one of the best openings of the series. It was just so cool. It was just like the retooling of the franchise felt like something that we needed after having the ultimate slasher with the second movie. But anyway, Gabe,
and by the way, I have never once told anybody that they were wrong for not liking the movie, but I've been told a million times I'm wrong for liking the movie. That's people, because people think that I'm on some kind of mission to make people like Halloween Ends. I don't give a fuck if you like it or not. I'm just telling you what I think, but people get really upset.
For somebody that gets a lot of hatred in the comments about your opinion, you're pretty chill with like what you give back in terms of your opinion. Which
at the end of the day, it's just fun. I don't even.
It's funny.
Every now and then they can kind of get under your skin a little bit, but not really. Like it's almost like the farther they go, the less they impact, Yeah. It's just kind of silly. Like, wow, you can I've literally had people say, I have to unsubscribe your channel now because you like Halloween Ends. I have to unsubscribe your channel. And I'm like, there's the door right there. And take a flying leap off that cliff after you exit the door.
I don't remember what movie it was, but that just quickly reminds me. I think Tony probably posted in Killer Flicks about some movie he liked that someone else didn't. And this guy was so mad because Tony just trolled him back that he messaged me and said, hey, I don't know how to tell you this, but Tony's cheating on you because he didn't like the movie.
Oh my God.
I don't remember what movie it was. I know, you know what?
Wow.
It was a movie. I think it was like a Free for All Friday or something. And I said there was some movie that I thought was I don't even remember what the movie was. But the guy said it was woke trash, and then he continued to call my phone. He kept calling my phone. I don't know, through Messenger. He was calling my phone, and then he messaged me.
Oh God.
And I told him it was the woke stuff. And then I told him, I sent him a screenshot of his mom, and I said, if you keep doing this, I'm going to message your mom that you're harassing people. And then I got blocked. But I don't know if he's still on Killer Flicks anymore.
Probably not.
Gabe, you're in the room, man. You've been quiet. Sorry, I tried introducing you, but it was just a black screen. But you're in.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have technical difficulties, so I am now on my cell phone because my laptop just crapped out on me.
Nice, good timing.
But
exactly.
You missed some of the Halloween Ends talk. We got Lee to talk a little bit about Halloween Ends within like the first 5 minutes of the show.
That was quick. You guys right into Halloween real quick.
I'm glad I knew it was different before we went into it. I think that helped me.
I thought this was BetterHelp. I didn't know this was an actual entertainment live stream. I thought this was BetterHelp. Usually the first thing I would talk about when I go to therapy is Halloween Ends. That's what I would open with. So
it's great to meet you, by the way, Lee. So
yeah, great to meet you too, Gabe.
But Gabe, you liked Halloween Ends too. I was telling Lee that you were pretty pumped on it the moment you came out.
I always say this, right? I'm not the biggest Halloween guy. I'm more Nightmare on Elm Street. That's Freddy Krueger's my jam. Michael Myers has always been outside my top 5 favorite slashers. So objectively looking into the whole Halloween franchise, I think the original is so convoluted. I love Rob Zombie's stuff, and then what they did with the new stuff, they hooked me up. Like from 2018 to Kills and the Ends, I was like, all right, I was invested in that. So when I saw Ends, I was like, shit, this is like a great story arc that they had throughout it. It's like the most complete timeline for me, at least. It's my favorite timeline.
Yeah, if you look at the trilogies of the, because you have, I mean, you could look at 1, 2, and H2O. You could look at the Thorn trilogy. I mean, I think this trilogy stands kind of proud on its own against the others. And, you know, and I literally had, like this guy commented today, said, this trilogy destroyed the franchise. And I was like, okay, hold on, let me break that down. First off, this trilogy made more money than all of the other movies combined. The franchise is just fine. And by the way,
first
you're
one
saying,
alone.
it's like, okay, this franchise was financially a disaster, and therefore there'll never be another movie, which is quite the opposite. This because it made so much money. I guarantee you another. I'm waiting every day. Is there going to be a Halloween announcement yet? Because of how much money this trilogy made.
So let me ask you this: what do you real quick? I want to address the chat. Thank you everybody for watching. Chris Snyder, I see you. Bernie, what is up, man? Always a pleasure to see you in the show. Miss Movies, love your channel. Sorry. So what do you want to see out of the next Halloween entry? Do you do like what? If you were in control, if you were at Blumhouse, or if they're going to even do one with Blumhouse, what do you want to see out of the next entry?
Well, I think because we are currently in the requel phase and we can't really go that route anymore because we did it with Halloween 2018. The question is, what is the next trend going to be after the requels? And we've already been through the remake craze. So maybe, with the multiverses and alternate timelines and all this other stuff, do we do an alternate timeline without a Laurie Strode? And let's just introduce a whole new batch of characters with a Michael Myers. I think that might be interesting, but it all comes down to the execution. And no matter what they do, I'm open for it. I'm game for it. I'm not the type of guy that's going to be like, you're not doing what I want, so I'm not going to give you a chance. I'd like a nice surprise, honestly. But I think as far as Myers goes, I think I would prefer them to go with the younger Myers, and not necessarily, the 20-year-old, but yeah, I want kind of a rebranding of Myers. What that entails, I don't know, but I'm kind of open-minded about it all. What about you guys?
So the reason why I asked that, besides it being the title of the show, there is the writers of the new Hellraiser. I don't know if you knew about this. They were commissioned to write a treatment when the Weinsteins had control of Halloween. Did you hear about their treatment, their idea that they were going to go with, the guys that wrote the recent Hellraiser?
I've heard quite a few different treatments. Refresh my memory on.
So their idea for Halloween was to take it back to the bare essentials of what Halloween is, which is a guy in a mask killing babysitters. And they wanted, the way they pitched it back when Weinstein was taking all these pitches, was that they wanted to get somebody like a Charlize Theron at that point in time, somebody who, it was very character driven. It was about a woman who is returning home a loser, is trying to get her act together, and she's taking care of her younger sister. And they live in suburbia where everything's being restructured and rebuilt. So half the block is under construction, and it's in a small town in like the middle of nowhere. And their idea of Myers was, let's never reveal his name. Let's never show his face. Let's make him the man with no name. And every year on Halloween, he's this myth. He's somebody that rolls into a new town, puts on his mask once that clock hits 6 or 7, cuts the power, and tries to kill everybody within the town by sunrise. And then he leaves on to do the next thing the following Halloween. And you never say it's Michael Myers, it's just the shape. And you have this very character-driven story where you have this sister and sister defending themselves against the shape in their small town. I think if they go that route or something like that, for me, that would be refreshing. I think we're done with the requels. I'm kind of I'm a little sick of the requel thing.
Are you really?
I'm sick of it. If they do another Halloween, I think if you go down to the basic essentials of just a dude in a mask killing babysitters, it's still Michael Myers, but I don't think you need to reveal too much about him and keep that mystique. I don't know. I think that would be exciting, but also a chance to be scary.
They still have to requel Nightmare on Elm Street before you move forward.
Right.
I
No,
mean, we
I
got
have heard that
Hellraiser,
pitch
we got
before,
Chucky,
actually.
we got Michael Myers. What Jason's coming up soon with that TV series, so now we just need Freddy to come back.
I think that's
I
actually a
kinda-
good idea. It almost, you can kind of compare it to like a Happy Death Day type deal, just something very simplistic in nature. And
Right.
you know, this man with with no name, that every Halloween, just it's almost like this curse happens, and he just
Right.
goes and does his thing, almost like what Santa Claus does, giving presents every freaking December
Right.
25th. Well, this guy goes and kills babysitters every Halloween night. So that's kind of what the first movie is. I mean, if there was no sequels to the original Halloween, and you told them that's what it was, you wouldn't be wrong, right?
I think that would piss off a lot of fans, but I also think that would, I don't know, create new fans in a way, because it's all, it adds the mythic element of what the shape is. He's like, he comes within the wind and then he's out. That's it. Like, he comes in, and like, I think that in the right hands of a director, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of somebody exciting that's not like a big name.
Zach Kreger.
I mean, if he were to, he's off doing crazy things, but, or even like a Mike Flanagan, somebody that does really grounded material, can do something like that, doesn't lean into fan service, and then can, boom, here's the story, and then that's it, like a one shot. I think that could work. I think that would be really exciting.
Hey, who's that guy who directed I have it right here, Christmas Bloody Christmas? Was it Brego?
Yeah,
Joe,
that could be a cool one.
Joe, is it Joe Brego? I can't remember his last name.
Bagos or Joe
Bagos, Joe Bagos. After watching this movie, because of the look of it and 16 millimeter and all that stuff, I was thinking, man, that'd be kind of cool if they did that with like a Halloween origin story. Because I know Rob Zombie did that with Halloween 2. He gave it a 16 millimeter feel, but in that story was way out of left field. Whereas if they just kept it simple and kind of did what you were just talking about, but gave it a kind of a grindhouse type of look,
right?
That could be interesting, actually.
Yeah,
I
think that could work.
The idea, maybe if they were to do something like what they touched on in Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, that evil doesn't die, it changes shape. Like maybe it's a different something else every year, kind of like how it was Corey, and then Corey died, so Michael's back, and now Michael's dead. Spoiler alert.
Right, like I think that could work. I would be down.
Would
for
you guys
too.
have liked if Corey went, like if Corey lived and they like, I don't know, continued the story with Corey as the killer in the next movie, even though people would have freaking went.
I think people would have
lost.
Ballistic.
Would you guys have
checked into a mental institution?
I would have liked. I think Gabe would have loved it.
I would have liked it. I don't know. I think I honestly find Michael Myers boring in that sense. I get it. I get his history, and I'm not trying to do like a hot take here. I just
not anymore.
Not anymore. I just do find Michael Myers, like, I don't find him interesting enough. Like, I get his backstory. I get it. I just don't, I don't know. I could never click with him. So if you gave me Corey, which I actually find Corey more exciting because of his backstory, because, he's an accidental killer, right? With the child. Like, he didn't mean to kill him. Right. And then just like years and years of like this town just ganging up on him. It's like the whole nature versus nurture thing. And all of a sudden he just like, that switch goes off on him and he becomes a killer. Like, I like that. And if you were to give me more Corey stories, I could get behind that.
Yeah, I'd like to see him like developed even more. Like, it was kind of cool to see him become his own version of the shape, for sure.
Yeah, I like that they put Corey and Myers together, and Corey was kind of learning from Myers, which is interesting. But I just like that they tried something different. I didn't want the same old story. And I get what Gabe is saying about how, a lot of those sequels along the way, Myers wasn't that interesting. I'll even say, like in H2O, to me, Myers is not interesting at all in H2O, all the way down to the way he looks. And that's part of the reason why I don't really like that movie. The thing that always made Myers interesting to me was Loomis. When you had Donald Pleasance in the movie with Myers and that mystery and how Pleasance would deliver these lines about the evil and how it would fester and all that stuff. I mean, Loomis was talking about stuff that we saw in Ends all along, but we just never really paid attention to it. But that's the stuff that I always found interesting about Myers, because how Loomis could not reach him. He always tried, came close a couple times, but he could never do it.
You bring up a good point. That's something I would like to see in the next movie is I would want small scale. I'd want maybe unknown, but give me like a Van Helsing kind of character in this that is like a Sam Loomis that's kind of obsessed with tracking down the shape in a way. I think that would be cool. They're gonna make another one. It's happening. The movies all made money. They were big on Peacock. At some point, it's gonna happen. Now it's just like, how's it gonna happen? Who's gonna do it? And we know when it happens, it's gonna be, here's the announcement next year. Movies coming out. These movies only take it's a month to shoot. They shoot them pretty quickly.
I feel like it'll be like a limited series possibly, or like a TV show next, because that seems to be.
I wouldn't be surprised, Vic.
Yeah,
honestly.
I tell Tony this, and me and Tony have talked about this, and I know Victoria's joined in a little bit on it in our chat, but it's like, I'm done with like the Scream, when like Scream 7 gets announced, like I'm done with like the legacy. So I hope Halloween, it's like truly leaves Jamie Lee Curtis in the back view mirror.
Yeah.
Leaves all that stuff in the back view and just start a new Michael Myers, a new Halloween story. So like I tell Tony, like I wish Scream 7 would do that. Like leave the legacy characters behind. I like Jenna Ortega and her sister and the whole new cast of kids. Why don't just give me a 7 with no legacy characters? Give me Scream 7 with no legacy characters. Let's just start fresh.
So you brought up Scream. I want to ask Lee, because I know Lee, you weren't a big fan of Scream 6. Did you rewatch it? What is your current opinion on Scream 6?
Well, I will say I did. I gave it a second viewing, and when I got home, I literally recorded a second viewing thoughts. A, because got to get those views, and B, my opinion did change. You know, I ended up kind of just enjoying the movie for what it was. When I went to it the first time, I don't know, I think maybe it was sensory overload. I was really, really pissed off at some of the plot armor. I mean, it was just glaring. So the thing that saves it for me, though, is the characters and how likable they are. Chad is a very likable character, even though there's no way in hell he would have lived through what he went through. But
right.
Yeah, I think I was just able to not take it so seriously the second time. And so I did enjoy it quite a bit more. And I do love the New York setting. I love Sam and Tara. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a little better than 5. And I think when I did my ranking, I actually put it at like maybe 4 or 3 somewhere. So I ended up enjoying it quite a bit more actually the next time. What about you guys? Did you guys watch it twice?
We actually haven't. Me and Tony haven't. I haven't. You did? I only saw it the one time.
Oh yeah. Gabe saw it twice. He saw it once. I saw it again at home. Gabe, I guess we'll start with you.
You watched it without me, is what I'm hearing.
I watched it twice, and then I bought the steelbook. I pre-ordered the steelbook on Amazon, but like upon my second viewing, like I felt like that was probably about enough viewings for me. I don't think it has a high rewatchability factor. Like the first 3 Screams, I could put them on and I could watch them so many times. But with this one, with 6, I don't think I'm gonna watch it again, even though I'm gonna own it. I'm just gonna it's gonna look nice in the collection is all.
Yeah.
This was something I was struggling with, and I was telling Victoria, because I rewatched it, and I was like, I told Gabe and her, I was like, yeah, I liked Scream 6 when we walked out the theater. I said, oh, it was fun. Like I didn't really like have any deeper thoughts other than I had a good time.
Yeah.
That was it. But upon rewatch, I was like, I don't know if I liked it as much as I thought. And I think a lot of the issues that I have with the movie, I don't think it's a bad movie. I love Radio Silence. I think they're amazing. I still think their best movie is Ready or Not. I think that was just like, it was a sucker punch in terms of a big wide release film that they had done. It was just like a great coming out party. And Scream 5 is really damn good. But I felt like with 6, I just hope we move away from legacy characters and fan service and go into something like a Halloween Ends that is just exciting and new and different. I love the core 4. I want to see more with them. But at no point in Scream 6 did I feel like they were in danger. Especially when Chad gets stabbed. I turned to Victoria during the movie and I said, there's no way they killed him off. I said, he's going to survive. And he does. And I love that character. It's fun. But the one thing I don't want from Scream 7, and I hope they don't do it, is like...
Bring back Stu?
I just
that's another thing that pisses people off.
My thing is, why do you want something if you know it's going to happen? Like the joy of Scream is that first movie, you don't expect those things to happen in the third act. Like the first Scream is set up in a very specific way. That way, when the payoff happens, for anybody that hasn't seen it, it's exciting. And the same way in part 2. Not so much in part 3. I mean, part 3, if as fun as it is, it's a live action Scooby Doo. But like the rules of Scream is to like, wow, what can we do that is exciting for the audience but feels fresh to the genre? And I hope we go that route with 7. I don't need Neve Campbell back. I don't see the point. I think if you take her scenes out of 5, the movie just keeps rolling. There's no point of her being there. But hey, if it happens, I'm excited. I don't know. I'm not even sure when we're getting this movie too. That's like another thing. But go ahead, Victoria. What do you got?
I have something to add. Every
I like
time you
that.
say something, I have a
Sticks the
point.
hand
I'm
up.
like me next.
Listen,
I think
Tony
my-
likes the sound of his own voice. So
No. Let's get one thing straight.
Trust
Gabe
me.
I'll just do
likes
like
the
this.
sound.
Yeah, me next, please.
Let's get one thing, Lee, since you're new to the show. Gabe likes to just say things out of his ass. He'll come on here and be like, hey, did you guys know I hate Denzel Washington? And we're like, why do you hate Denzel
What?
Washington? And exactly.
Who hates
exactly.
Denzel?
Hey, like, did you know, like, I hate burgers. I want my burgers to be plain with cheese. No pickles, no lettuce, no tomato, nothing.
just because I don't like pickles, I don't like pickles.
Exactly. So I just wanted to get that. We need to let Lee know these things. So that way he has the context for the conversation. But anyway, Victoria, go.
Are you sure?
Yes. Okay, now we're
Okay. Anyways, what I was gonna say, I mean, I know I haven't rewatched it, but I will rewatch it again at some point, I feel like. But what you said about it being like, it should be exciting, it should be like new, like I feel like I feel like I did agree with it. This was like the least exciting killer motivation. Like without giving any spoilers, I was kind of like, we're really still on that? Like y'all are still part of that storyline? Like, oh my God, like, come on. I don't know. And I don't know. I'm going to spoil it if I say what I thought right now.
I guess we can.
Is it too late?
Everybody's
spoil
seen
it,
this
yeah.
movie, right? Yeah.
We can spoil it.
Okay, well, if you haven't seen Scream 6, I'm about to spoil a little bit of it. I turned to Tony as soon as she had said, my brother died. I said, I bet you that's Richie's sister. The way she didn't give details, I was like, that's definitely his sister.
That is the, I don't know. That's the one thing about Scream 6 that I guess won't hold up upon repeat viewings is the killer motivation. Where I feel like 5.
It seems like the least exciting killer reveal to me. Like I can watch Scream 4 again and again because I feel like that's like a really good betrayal. Like holy shit, your niece, you know what I mean, or it's her cousin, you know what I mean?
Right, and it's a pretty damn good motivation. It's a funny motivation. Yeah. Same thing with 5. Like it's like, okay, well, they're coming at everybody that they're coming at fanboys, and it's really funny.
They're the Halloween Ends fans.
But that's what I want out of I want Halloween Ends for Scream 7. I want something exciting and different. That's what I want.
Well, the one mistake that Scream 6 made, as far as like because it's a whodunit, is you were talking about Quinn. But also there was a moment when Bailey says, he says, it could be anybody in here, but it can't be Quinn because that's my daughter. And I was like, oh, Quinn's one of the killers. Even though I knew who the killer was anyway. Actually, let me correct myself because I didn't know that Quinn was the killer. I thought that it was just Ethan and Bailey because, that those assholes were going out of their way to try to spoil it for everybody. Well, I got spoiled. I got freaking Twitter bombed on my this guy like literally Twitter bombed. I think he just like copied and pasted 4 times on my Twitter notifications. So that way I could see who the killer was. I was like, but he didn't put Quinn in there. But when he said that, I was like, oh, but Quinn's not the killer because I already know who the killer, and she was the killer. So, but it kind of goes back to like Spiral. Remember that movie Spiral with The Rock?
Yes.
The Saw movie. There's a moment in that movie.
I thought you meant The Rock, it's like, not Chris Rock.
It's like 10 minutes into the movie, and the detective sidekick says, "Can I borrow your cell phone because mine is broken?" And I was like, "Oh, he's the killer."
That's like my dad.
Sure enough,
my
he was the killer.
Is king of figuring stuff out, and I'm always like the dumb one. I'm like, I didn't know that. He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right.
Why else would he? Because when you write, everything has to have a purpose, unless it's just really poorly written. But also, even if it's poorly written, why would you write this character wants to borrow this character's cell phone for no reason whatsoever, other than it being the killer at the end of the movie, right? So that was a dead giveaway.
Speaking
I'm
of
gonna
Spiral,
quickly jump out and use the restroom. Sorry, hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead. The one thing you brought up, Spiral, I actually kind of admire that movie. I don't think it's a great movie, but
Yeah.
I like how kind of crazy it is, and just the idea of casting Chris Rock in a movie like that. I
Yeah.
found a lot of entertainment value just in watching Chris Rock in a Saw movie. Just
Well, he was
screaming.
entertaining. I'll give it that.
He's very entertaining in it, and
Yeah.
I forget that movie even like came out until you said it, because the
Yeah.
killer is kind of forgettable, but like there's
Very.
I think there's some fun stuff if they came out with another Saw movie, which they are, but if they came out with a sequel to Spiral, bringing back Chris Rock, I'll
Mhm.
happily take it for sure. But that leads me to my next thing, Lee. We talked about it. Another thing we talked about off camera, Gabe, you were having technical difficulties, and I want to bring this up because somebody brought up. Let me find it because we've just been going off.
Transformers?
No, not Transformers. Gabe, have you heard about Dylan's new nightmare? Lee, what do you think of that? Your boy Dave McRae, he's playing Freddy.
Yeah. I just had Dave and Bruce on.
You did,
a couple
yeah.
weeks ago. Yeah, and I asked him about that and what it was like playing Freddy. And one of the questions I asked him was that a challenge? Or like, was that one of the most challenging roles that you've ever done? Because he does like voice acting, but he said it was actually pretty easy. Like he wasn't intimidated by the role. He just went in. He had an idea and he just went in with it. So it's pretty cool that Dave. I mean, I think he looks amazing as Freddy too. So
yeah,
and
no,
just in terms of fan films in general, I think we are in like the golden age of fan films right now because they're so big that they're literally getting legacy actors and characters in fan films. And I even went up to like Danielle Harris the last time I was at like Spooky Empire, and I asked her, I was like, hey, if somebody ever came to you with a fan film that's like a sequel to Halloween 4 or Halloween 5, would you do it? And she stated no, she wouldn't do it because she wouldn't want to get on the bad side of the Akkads. But I think there's going to be a moment where the door closes for her film. That's my guess, but I think eventually she would. Like, I think she's waiting now because I know Danielle Harris has an idea for a treatment for the next Halloween movie, and the Akkads know about it. But I don't think it's going to happen. That's just my opinion. And if it doesn't happen, then I think there's a chance you could get somebody like Danielle Harris. But like back to Dylan's new nightmare, you could tie that in with like what they did with Never Hike Alone. You know how they got freaking Tom Matthews in there. It's an exciting time. And the other Friday movie where you had Alice from the first movie.
That's right. Yeah,
Jason Rising. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's an
Jason
exciting
Rising
time for sure.
I mean, Friday fan films are like all the craze. Like
Yeah.
when Vince came out with his, he was like one of the first. There was fan films out there, but he was one of the first to do it on a large scale. Of hey, I'm gonna crowdfund everything. I'm gonna give you a movie that actually looks really, really good, is shot well, acted well, is damn near close to a feature length thing, and it's gonna be really, really good. And Dylan's New Nightmare looks exactly like that. And I know Vince is involved in that too, and Dave McRae looks great. I think, Gabe, you got to check out the trailer for that because he looks really, really good. And he looks like my favorite Freddy, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, which I think is the best looking of all the nightmares.
Definitely.
But the reason why I wanted to bring up the fan film thing is because you're involved in a fan film of your own. You're an associate producer, or what is it? I guess how involved are you in the Crow fan film?
I am an associate producer. I have Cody Falk and his team, Wet Paint Pictures. They are making this thing. And there's very little I can tell you right now, but what I can say is I have weekly, almost every other day, I have conversations with Cody Falk. And we talk about the script, and we talk about casting, and we talk about, everything, all the nuts and bolts of what this movie's going to be. Because he wants to get my opinion on pretty much everything that they're doing, because he knows how big of a Crow fan that I am. And so it's cool to be able to give my input on that. But as far as like what I can tell you, big stuff's coming, like probably within the next couple of weeks. There's some big announcements coming. So, but I'm really excited. I'm really excited, and I'm telling you, this movie's going to look amazing. And I've seen some images from the movie of the actual title character, and I'll just say, when you guys see it, wow, it's pretty damn cool. I wish I could tell you more. I really do, because I'm getting excited just thinking about it.
Damn, I thought we were gonna break some news here.
Yeah, right.
Exclusive.
Exclusive.
I've seen some photos, and I'm like, damn, if we can convey that photo on, yeah, that's gonna be amazing. So yeah, and I've read the script. Script is great. And the thing about The Crow too is the only good movie is the first movie.
Oh, for sure.
There's a fan base for the second movie. It's kind of gotten a cult following, but it's not really a good movie. Although I do have a soft spot for the second, but the rest of them, I'll even say this: The Crow Wicked Prayer with Edward Furlong is one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. It's horrible. So I told Cody Fogg, I was like, hey, there's a good shot we're not going to be the worst Crow film. So, that's something to go off of.
I mean, until the remake comes out too.
Yeah, I grew up with the Crow film, with the original. I think I had that on repeat, and I didn't return to VHS to Blockbuster back then.
Oh yeah,
I just kept it.
I remember standing in line at the video store. I saw the movie in the theater opening night, but I remember I was just counting the days until it came on VHS to rent, and I was like standing in line at the video store before it opened so I could get a copy. Because remember back in the day, you'd only get they'd have 4 copies to rent, and so you had to you had to be there early.
I'm back.
And The Crow, man, that movie, it's my number 2 all-time favorite film.
I would wait in line on Tuesdays, because Tuesdays they did the VHS new releases for the week. Right. It was on Tuesday, so I would go ahead on Tuesday, wait in line, so that way I could see the movie before the weekend came.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think that was the worst feeling. I think a lot of people don't remember that. I mean, you guys are older than me, but to that extent, when DVDs were blowing up, you'd go to Blockbuster, and there's nothing worse than that feeling, running to the aisle to the movie you want to get, seeing all the displays, and there's nothing behind them.
But the best feeling was running up to the front and being like, hey, do you guys have a copy of this?
And somebody just returned it.
And then look in the box and be like, oh, right. Somebody just returned one. And you're like, you just get that joy. You're like ecstatic. Right. You're like, yes.
I miss that. We need to bring the video store.
Yeah, there's something I miss about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just that excitement of going there, and the chance that it could be gone. It might not be there. Whereas now, when you can pull up Vudu and it's going to be there. If it's out, it's out, and everybody can watch it. And
we went to a Blockbuster.
Kind of takes something away from it.
Right. No, and I think I don't know. I feel like since we're talking about franchises, it's hard to do a franchise on streaming. I think Netflix has tried to. I think they wanted to do a franchise with Brights, but they couldn't do it. For some reason, it's hard for Netflix or Hulu to do a huge movie franchise.
Yeah.
It's easier to just do a franchise for the theaters.
That's actually a good point. I never really thought about that, but yeah, I don't think any a brand new property. I mean, I know Prey came directly to streaming, and a lot of people loved it. I loved it, but
right.
It's really good. Yeah,
it's strange though, because what? So where does that leave Predator? And does that kind of put the death knell for future theatrical releases for Predator movies? I don't know. It's kind of weird.
I don't think it does, because I think that was that Hulu Disney Fox merger weirdness that they had going on. And I think with the success that Prey did have with streaming, I think Disney will probably be like, you know what, let's give this another theatrical take with it if we go that Prey route.
Yeah.
Well, Alien they're doing the same thing. They're putting the new Alien on Hulu. It's a Hulu
Alien
exclusive.
Romulus.
Yeah. It's the same thing, the Fede Alvarez one, or whatever they're doing. And I think there's something to be said there with Hellraiser and Prey. We always hear these stories now where studios are like, oh, we were going to put this on streaming, but it tested so well that we're just going to put it in theaters. And something makes me think, well, we're getting stuff like Smile in theaters, or Barbarian, or Evil Dead. All movies that were meant to be on streaming, and then they go to theaters and make a ton of money. Like they're like, oh shit, like there's money in this. There's no money in streaming. It's very obvious there's no money in streaming.
No.
So my thing is like, I want to see the new Alien in theaters. I want to see the new Predator in theaters. You would think like, I don't know, like the lessons learned from Prey would be, let's put the next Alien movie on the big screen, especially you have Fede Alvarez, who both of his horror movies have made like a ton of money.
Yeah.
Or for something like, Lisa, I didn't know that Evil Dead was meant to be streaming at first. And you think they would look at that and think, well, look how well they're doing for like not a smaller horror movie, but a horror movie in general.
Well, I mean, Evil
Why
Dead
wouldn't they
Rise
put it-
did feel kind of like a smaller scale type movie because it was in
Yeah.
one environment, which is what Evil Dead's supposed to be anyway. But it made some pretty good money in the theaters. So
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if they're actually paying attention to that fact in terms of Alien. And also, Alien movies are perfect on the big screen. Like Prometheus and Covenant. Oh my God! Regardless of how you feel about Covenant, it still looks massive. It looks epic on the big screen. So the thought of seeing an Alien movie for the first time not in the theater, I don't really like that. So
it's the same reason why I go to see Transformers in IMAX. And like, listen, I know
this is like the second time you brought up Transformers
because I just saw Optimus Prime at Navy Pier. All right. It's the reason why I go see all the Transformers movies in IMAX. I want to see Optimus Prime on a freaking giant ass screen. All right.
Mhm.
The movies could be bad, but I want to see Optimus Prime as big as he could be. Yeah. And the same reason why I love going to the theaters is I want to see it. Like, yeah, I have an 80-inch TV with a nice sound system, whatever, but it takes away the theater experience gives you something that even at home doesn't give you.
Yeah.
It's a freaking Transformer.
There's nothing like the big screen.
That's true.
Go ahead, Vic.
Gabe. Oh no, I think you were just quoting Mark Wahlberg, right?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Transformer.
So I guess
Transformers okay.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
we just watched. I showed Vic Fear for the first.
I never
time,
seen it before.
about a week and a half ago. So that was a lot of fun seeing your reaction to that.
What did?
Fear.
Wait, which movie did you just watch again for the first time?
Fear.
Fear. Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, Fear. Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, what are y'all talking about? I didn't know they filmed it in Vancouver.
Oh my God.
I've been on that roller coaster. There is no way that would have happened. You are coming out of your seat. First of all.
So I wanted to bring the conversation back.
Hey, hold on just a second, guys. Let me stop.
Go ahead.
I got a phone call.
I'll
be right back.
I guess we'll get it started. But Gabe, what is besides Nightmare on Elm Street? All right, we talked about we don't want to see the requels anymore. We want to see movies going back to taking. If it's going to be a reboot, we want to see fresh ideas. So besides Nightmare on Elm Street, what's a franchise that you want to see come back in a big way?
Ooh, that's a good question. Are we talking horror franchise?
Yeah, I guess let's keep it horror.
Keep it horror. I know this is gonna be something funny, but you know what? I can't even tell you. What do you? Let me think about it a little bit. Which one did you say?
Victoria, how about you? I'll let Victoria go first.
Oh boy. A big horror franchise?
Yes.
Huh. Or not a big horror franchise, but a horror franchise to come back.
Also, Jay, yes, I have. I might get it.
I didn't. Is it good?
It looks great. Looks great. I think I might pre-order that. Somebody's saying Gremlins.
I don't know.
James is saying Gremlins. There's a way they could do Gremlins, and I think it would be really exciting to see that franchise back. I think kids would, you need gateway horror in a way. Movies that kids can watch and be scared and have fun with, and I think Gremlins would be perfect for that. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
That's a hard one. I feel like they're already making everything. You know what I mean? Like
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking. It's like they're remaking everything already, and it's like anything that I would put out there, it's like, oh, it's already being made. I mean, I guess if you're saying like which movie I would like want like a sequel to, or like like a movie that's already came out and like maybe it could start off a franchise.
I agree with this.
I
would
would
saying The Hills Have Eyes, but yeah,
I
Final
want
Destination's
Hills Have
happening.
Eyes too, probably because I've heard a lot about Rob Zombie being attached to another Hills Have Eyes, which I think makes a lot of sense. So I would love to see that actually. That surprised me that he didn't do it already.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't think of anything at the present moment. You stumped me. I'm stumped. I'm speechless.
Right? And then he turned it to me and I'm like, girl, I don't know.
I think The Blob was another one Rob was attached to at some point.
Really?
What hasn't Rob been attached to for horror?
Right. I feel like he's talked about The Blob. He's talked about The Hills Have Eyes. The Blob would be a really interesting idea because I feel like you had the 50s version with McQueen, and
I'm just gonna throw this out there. How about The Eye with Jessica Alba? Make The Eye 2.
Oh my God.
Like another like organ donor like type of horror stuff.
Well, who's gonna remember that movie?
Who doesn't remember Jessica Alba and The Eye?
Okay.
The Ring. Rings did come back. Never mind.
Oh wow, I think Lee is muted.
Lee is muted. There's a little.
Oh, he muted himself. Yeah.
There he goes.
Nope, you're still muted.
It might be a StreamYard.
I think
thing.
he might have done it on StreamYard, maybe. Oh wait, did I mute him?
I think you got to press it on your computer.
Oh no, it's yeah, he's got to unmute himself.
There you go.
There you go.
That's weird.
Maybe not. Oh, there it goes.
I guess nobody remembers The Eye. What the hell?
No, I vaguely remember it. I don't even remember if I saw it or not.
So basically, Jessica Alba is blind and she gets an eye transplant, and then she sees like the person's like previous horrors and through somebody else's eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of those remakes of those like Japanese flicks weren't that good.
No.
I think like The Grudge was kind of watered down. I think The Ring's the only one that I think was like really good. The Pulse wasn't that good.
We watched one, me and Victor. What did me and you watch? It was called Shutter.
What?
Was it called Shutter? About the
Yeah,
guy
Shutter, but like the
photos
camera
Oh,
Shutter.
yeah.
The remake.
Yeah, that was like a thing. That was like I think everybody forgets how big that was. Like
American remakes of Asian films. Yeah.
there were so many. There was like a ridiculous amount of them. But Lee, we were talking about we were seeing franchises come back in a big way, and it feels like everything's coming back. Is there a movie or a franchise or a sequel you'd like to see done, not in a requel way, but I guess something fresh brought to the idea?
Now are you talking about like a remake of something?
I guess like a reboot, maybe a reboot
of any franchise.
Of any franchise, whether that be like The Lost Boys or Fright Night or somebody was saying The Hills Have Eyes.
We haven't really had a
sequel.
great like vampire movie. I think the only one that kind of stuck out to me was
Twilight.
What's the one on the plane? That
was
pretty decent.
Blood Red Sky or something.
The Blood
Red Sky. Yeah. That one was interesting. But as far as like they tried to remake Fright Night and it was kind of lackluster. But I think you leave Lost Boys alone, because they tried to do some sequels and it didn't work out. So, yeah,
I think they're.
I don't know. That's a tough question.
I think they're doing.
Tony, highlight Chris Snyder's comments.
Oh, sorry.
Because you and Gabe talked about that movie.
Oh,
Stay Alive.
With John Travolta? No. Stay Alive. Yes, Lee. Do you remember this movie? Did you see this one?
Frankie Muniz?
No, I don't. I've heard of it. I don't think I've seen that one. No.
This is about a group of people who are playing a video game that is that wasn't released to the public.
Yeah.
And the video game is based off of Elizabeth Bathory, who was like a real life vampire. She killed a lot of women in like the 1600s. She's pretty disgusting. But in the movie, it's about a group of friends who play this game, and if they die in the game, she comes and kills them in whatever way that they died in the video game. I'm trying to think. Sophia Bush was in this too, right, Gabe?
Oh, so who could forget Sophia Bush? That raspy voice. Yeah.
And Frankie Muniz.
And Frankie Muniz. Frankie Muniz was in this. This is like 2006. But this is all that same era. It's a very interesting era from like 2004 to 2009, where they're either remakes of Japanese movies or they feel like American
Scary
like,
Ghost.
Yeah, like Scary Ghost, or like Americans trying to do like the J horror kind of thing. Maybe that's the next big phase. Maybe we go back to J horror. I don't know.
Aren't we still in K horror with like the sadness?
Yeah.
Stuff?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing like a sadness too.
Yeah. I mean, that movie's brutal.
Oh, it is
brutal. But
that one scene that's just like every time I like recommend that movie, I'm like, but I was like, you got to watch it, but there is one scene you may not like.
Yeah.
Or you may like, depending on your taste. I was like, but it's fucked up.
Yeah.
I had to go get the German version of the Steelbook for that. I ordered that online, but like in like Amazon Germany somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But it was great.
What is I guess what's the next big thing you're excited for then, Lee? What's the, like, out of everything in the landscape of horror right now, whether that be a sequel or something new that you see from A24, is there one that stands up to you?
You know, and I did an anticipated horror list recently too. I'm trying, like lately it's been hard for me to get excited about anything new. Like I was excited for Scream 6. I tell you what, one thing that's not coming out that I really want is a new Nightmare movie, but it seems like that's never going to happen. I just heard something the other day too, that there's a rights issue and there's a bidding war going on for the rights, and that might be what's been holding it up. But that's the next big thing I really want is a Nightmare movie. But as far as like the movies coming out this year, I don't know. Like maybe refresh my memory. Like what's some movies that are coming out this year that
in terms of we haven't even talked about that. You talked about it on your stream the other night. I saw that. The Exorcist, Talk to Me. That's
The Exorcist.
The Exorcist, Talk to Me. The Boogeyman, I've heard, is really
solid.
solid.
Yeah, Talk to Me.
I'm seeing the Boogeyman on Tuesday night actually. So hopefully that's good.
Nice. What's the one with the hand?
Talk to Me.
Talk to Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one making the rounds right now. Okay, so what are your thoughts? Let's talk about The Exorcist, because me and Gabe have talked about this in weeks prior, and that Gabe thinks that nobody should have ever touched it. We shouldn't have touched The Exorcist. What is your anticipation level, like, especially being a fan of the David Gordon Green trilogy? Like, what do you think? What are your thoughts going into this one?
I'll say I'm curious. I don't know if optimistic is the word, even though I like his Halloween trilogy, but I know that there was a test screening recently in New York, and you know, test screenings are test screenings, and it got pretty bad reviews. So hopefully they'll go back and fix some of those issues, but who knows? I mean, with the very nature of test screenings can be a little bit deceiving anyway, you know, because like even like Rob Zombie was talking about how back when Halloween 6 came out and they were kind of basing it off of 14-year-old boys, what they thought of the movie. And, you know, sometimes you could have like a really great movie there, but you just have it put in front of the wrong audience, wrong test screening audience, and it could just sabotage the movie. So I'm still curious. I'll definitely watch it. You know, that's a troubled franchise anyway. I mean, I really only like 2 of those movies, 1 and 3.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's tough, but I'm definitely curious. You know, I'd like to see what kind of stamp David Gordon Green can put on it.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely. I've told Tony, I think that for me, at least, The Exorcist was untouchable. Like we did a whole show about franchises or the movies that should be untouchable, and I said The Exorcist. But I'm like you said, I'm intrigued by what might happen. Hopefully, like possession is like one of my favorite subgenres in horror.
Yeah.
So I'm always excited when I'm like, oh, there's a new possession movie coming out, and then I come out, I'm like, well, that was what it was, I guess. So
it's a tough genre. It really
is.
It's
a very tough
so
genre.
many duds, you know?
Yeah. So
it's hard to
I don't
match
know.
The Exorcist.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I compare every possession movie to The Exorcist, rightfully or wrong of me, but I compare every possession movie to The Exorcist because I hold that to such a high regard for an Exorcist type movie, for a possession movie, that it's like, it's hard. It's hard to compete.
Definitely. Yeah.
The one thing I wanted to say about test screenings, I saw that information come out that it's not testing well. Halloween, the first one, didn't get like the craziest test scores either. And I think David Gordon Green tends to like shoot movies in a way that are his original cuts are super long, and then he goes back and starts trimming things down. But for anybody that hasn't been in a test screening, those things are like, they're weird because they just tell you like, oh, this is the kind of movie you're going to see. But they don't even tell you the genre. It's just like a list of random movies. Like me and Victoria went to go see. What was that movie you went to go see?
Tick, Tick, Boom.
Tick, Tick, Boom. We didn't know it was Tick, Tick, Boom. We were like,
we thought it was going to be in the Heights.
We're like, it's got to be in the Heights. And then like the people with the clipboards are like, what movie do you think you're seeing? We're like, in the Heights. We're like, nope, not in the Heights. It's another Lin-Manuel Miranda movie. But even with that, like the questions that the audience has asked, they're really good questions. But the answers that some of these people give are really stupid. That anybody can go to a test screening. Like they're free.
Yeah, I think usually they don't even like the test screening audience to necessarily like that genre.
Exactly.
Which can really fuck things up.
That's the thing. They want like the most random people. Like I remember Tick, Tick, Boom, Victoria. We were there, and I remember somebody in the crowd recommended something that was like ridiculous. That movie has to do with like the making of Rent, the show or the Broadway show Rent, and the AIDS epidemic. And somebody was saying, well, we should take out the character that has AIDS. And I remember like telling the guy with the clipboard and like pushing back. I'm like, they should not cut that because that's like the heart of the movie. That's like the whole point of the movie. So it's like little things like that. I think people forget test screenings. Like it's an unfinished product.
Anyone can go.
Anybody can go. Even movies like Malignant, like test so poorly. And then they come out and they get a little bit of praise, and there's some fans that like these movies. But I think people got to remember that with test screenings, that like they're not. I guess you shouldn't take the word of the most random people on the street because it's literally
they're not science. No. It's still just opinions, and it's the opinions of actually a kind of a small percentage of the public. So
yeah.
Go
ahead, Victoria.
Okay. This man stay cut me off.
No, I was just adding on to it. Gabe's that was it. I'll mute myself.
No, Gabe's muted. There we go. Stop.
Okay.
Anyway. I was mentioning this on Good Real Hunting the other day. I went on to watch Friday the 13th, Part 7. I feel like everyone's so hard on David Gordon Green, and like it's like known that people just sit there and they destroy a movie before we even know anything about it. And then they get on there and they end up liking it. And like people just want it to fail so badly. I'm like, why? Everything I feel like not even just David Gordon Green does, if it's, I think Lee was kind of mentioning it earlier, if it's too faithful to an original, it's, well, he just copied everything. And if it's different, like say Halloween Ends, well, it's not even good. Like y'all need to give this man a chance. I think it's very clear he's a good filmmaker. Should he have been the one chosen for Exorcist? Who knows? But obviously Blumhouse has faith in him. And filmmakers have faith in him. He doesn't just do horror, obviously. Like people are just jumping the gun like they always do, way too fast.
Yeah,
I think
he's a good filmmaker, actually. And plus, I like the guy can handle a lot of different genres. Like, I have you guys seen The Righteous Gemstones?
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I love that show. I mean, the guy handles comedy really well. I think he handles horror pretty well. I liked all 3 Halloween movies. Are they perfect? No, but
I love Halloween.
I like them quite a bit. So, they're pretty hardcore too in some of the violence in those movies. So I think he could probably handle an Exorcist movie.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, people saying no, he can't. Okay, how do you know? How do you know until we've seen it? I could go on.
Yeah, give it a shot.
That stuff makes me mad. Y'all talking shit about a movie that's not out yet.
The last Exorcist movie was it? We had what were the 2? It was Dominion, and then what was the other one? It was
Beginning.
It was the same movie, just recut, right? It was Paul Schrader, and then I forgot whoever made the other one. But we haven't had anything since that debacle. I think we might be in pretty good hands. If there had to be one, they got a pretty good filmmaker, regardless of Halloween, what people think. The guy's made a bunch of great dramas and comedies and TV, Eastbound and Down, Righteous Gemstones. Like, that's a pretty talented filmmaker to like get involved. Right. Somebody that doesn't really need to be in the horror genre, but he is, and he's doing these things. But I don't know what other films, guys. What's another Gabe? What's another horror movie that you've been keeping your eye on?
Just quickly, someone asked where we got the Barbarian poster.
Oh, from Gabe.
I have to ask Gabe where he got it from because he got it for us.
My stepson works for AMC here in the
Right.
Chicagoland area. So whenever I want a movie poster, I'll be like, "Yo, can you hook me up with a for so and so movie poster?" And he usually does. So I have a whole bunch of like
There it
Scream
is.
posters and Barbarian. I got a Megan poster. So like all the cool horror movie posters I get from him.
That's
Give
Give me
cool.
a Don't Worry,
Nice
Darling
hookup.
one with Harry Styles on it.
I think I have one actually, because I just told him like I was
Pull
like,
up.
just get me every single movie poster, because at some point, like, you know, everybody has to have like a side gig. I feel like I want to start selling movie posters on eBay, like $50 a pop or whatever. But you know,
So what's a horror movie, man? What's one that you're? Is it Talk to Me? Is that the one that you're kind of keeping an eye on?
it is, because it is Possession, so I'm definitely keeping my eye on Talk to Me. It's A24. We're talking about, you know, playing, you know, evil games and talking to the other side. You know, that's like always interests me. You know, you know, when you grow up like Catholic, like the evil side and the demon side, like that's always like ingrained into your like religion when you're growing up. So it's like that has always interested me. So I'm like, I'm sort of like not ecstatic, but I'm so like hyped up for that film.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, it looks
Victoria?
good. And I like A24. You know,
Right.
Usually I'll give anything by A24 a chance.
Yeah,
Exactly.
No, I agree.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like there's sometimes like they could be a little bit too much, but I feel like as long as it has A24, I'm in for a good time. Like I may not like it by the end of it, but I feel like I'm still gonna have a good time regardless.
Yeah, you get that artistic touch too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The elevated horror. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Elevated
Oh
horror.
my god. Oh
Elevated
yeah.
horror. It's a term.
Victoria, what about you? What's a movie that you're anticipating?
I don't know if it's I mean, I'm hoping it comes out this year. I mean, I don't know how long it took because it just started filming, but I'm excited for Maxine.
Yeah.
Oh
I don't know if
yeah,
it's- I don't know if
there's
it's
your
coming
number
out
one
this
right
year,
there.
though.
Yes. How did I forget that? Jesus.
Only
That's-
because
yeah,
they just
that's my
started
number
filming,
one.
and I'm not sure how long it takes them because they film the other two like back to back. I'm pretty sure, but hopefully it comes out
Yeah.
this year. In terms of what we know is coming out this year, though, I mean, yeah, I think Talk to Me is going to be pretty cool. It's kind of giving me Ouija 2 vibes, which I really liked a little bit.
I loved Woody too. Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
so good. I showed Tony that for the first time a couple years ago.
That's right. That was one I had missed out on, and
That was the one where like the sequel was better than the original.
Yep, 100%.
No, I agree.
Oh, I just thought of a franchise because of that. That we want to see. The Last Exorcism. Sorry. It was like 2010.
Yeah.
It was like a found footage exorcism horror movie. It scared the shit out of Tony, and it
It
scared
did.
me.
I was pretty freaked
And like
out.
the second one, I remember was a little bit different, but that first one, I don't know. I think it would be kind of cool somehow because those ones got me.
Yeah. Cool.
You know, what I saw would have been cool if it would have turned into a franchise was the Tooth Fairy one, Darkness Falls. Like if they remade that
Mhm.
with like now's technology and maybe try to do a franchise of like a horror Tooth Fairy, Darkness Falls could
Yeah.
really work again.
There was a few Tooth Fairy movies. There was that. There was what was the Guillermo del Toro produced one?
Oh yeah.
He did, and then there was the one with
yeah.
The Rock.
And Vin Diesel too, right?
Oh, that's the
Did Vin Diesel do
pacifier.
one? Oh,
The pacifier. Lee, are you Team Vin Diesel or Team Rock, Lee?
oh my god.
Oh geez. I think I'm team neither. I mean, I like both of them, but I don't really follow the Fast movies. I didn't really care for I've seen like I think the first 7, and then I kind of jumped off of that ship.
We saw it, and I fell asleep. The new one.
Yeah. I can't get into the Fast movies, and The Rock does so many movies every year that it's hard. Like I saw what was the last DC movie that he did?
Black Adam.
Black
Black Adam.
Oh my
Yeah.
It's
god.
okay. It's nothing special. You know, it's The Rock. He's pretty
Not
much
great.
he does what he does. He's great at what he does, but he doesn't really have, you know, that much flexibility in his acting.
So you're taking then Batista over The Rock as like the better of the wrestlers turned actors?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think Batista's a really good actor, actually, and he's gotten some
Kind of
really big
iconic.
parts. Yeah,
He's gotten some really good movies compared
Blade
to
Cabin
Runner
in the Woods
2049.
was great.
Yeah.
Knock at the Cabin was
Oh, I
fantastic.
said Cabin in the Woods. My bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Lee, is there anything else that you're working on? Any videos coming up that you got in the meantime?
Right now, I tell you, lately I've been just kind of playing it by ear, kind of winging it, and I've been doing a lot of these older. Like today, I watched Possession from 1981.
I want to see that.
That's a movie. It's just crazy. So I might do a review on that. I watched The Dorm That Dripped Blood, which was a very, very low budget little slasher with some interesting kills. So I'm kind of on this kick of these lesser known deep cut type movies. I'm having fun doing those. So that's probably what I'm going to stay on. But I do have like some newer releases that are coming out that I got to go to press screenings for, like the new Stephen King movie, the Boogeyman.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that on Tuesday.
Yeah, I want to see that. Yeah.
So hopefully that's good. I don't really know much about it, but I'm hoping it's good.
I've been seeing a lot of the trailers come out for that. So that does look really good though too.
Yeah.
I see a trailer almost every time now that we go see something.
Really?
Keep your eyes on your kids, apparently.
See, that's the nice thing about press screenings is they show you zero trailers. They go right into the movie.
Right.
And it's nice.
So you don't see Nicole Kidman tell you about how movies matters?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't have to sit through that. It's so freaking nice.
I need a sequel to that. I need a sequel to that commercial though. Like I'm done with that. It's been like 2 years. Give me a new Nicole Kidman.
Heartbreak never felt so good.
A lot of times now, living in Arizona, we try to, for the bigger movies like for Evil Dead Rise, for Halloween Ends, me and Tony go to Burbank AMC, which I didn't realize was such a big deal, but they break out into applause every time Nicole Kidman comes on. Every single time, like applause. People are standing up like this, like they were.
That's awesome.
In LA, they break into applause and they quote it as she's there. Which, if you ever go to Burbank AMC, we mentioned this before, Lee. Everybody who's anybody in horror goes.
Which
to
I
this
didn't
theater,
realize.
Which was we saw the director Joe Lynch was there, randomly seen Evil Dead. Bill Moseley's like eating popcorn in line and stuff. Like it is just
Friday what?
Tom McLaughlin was there, like coming out of Evil Dead Rise, just like
damn.
I didn't realize it was such a big deal.
Yeah, it's really funny seeing that. You mentioned that, but I don't know. Is there anything else you guys have for Lee? Anything else you want to touch on before we start wrapping up?
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Next time I won't wait like.
It was fun being on here.
It was a lot of fun, man. It was.
Yeah, sorry about my technical difficulties here at the beginning. I don't know.
Maybe I could have you guys on my channel sometime.
100%.
Yeah.
And then I want to add in, we were kind of talking about it earlier, but for people who don't know, me and Tony actually met through Lee's horror Facebook group, and now we're engaged. So it's like, thanks to Lee, we're together.
I love that. I brag about it all the time. That's so cool.
Tony's trolling finally worked in his favor.
Yep. Lee,
a lot of great memories.
Like
who knows how many times Lee had to stick up for me from not getting kicked out of his horror group.
Yeah, always. You're in there for life.
But thank you all for watching. Everybody in the comments, it was very fun seeing you. Sorry we didn't get to any comments at all, but there was a lot of great ones. Like Chris,
I agree with that too. I saw.
Yeah,
that.
you threw a lot of great stuff in there. Dark Room, Jojo, Bernie, I see you, all you guys. Thank you for sticking around and watching. This was a ton of fun.
Yeah, it was
and then
fun.
We'll definitely bring you on again, Lee. I cannot wait to see more from The Crow. Cody Fox, he's a really cool filmmaker, man. I remember back when I was talking to him, back when Never Hike Alone was happening, he was doing Vengeance. I was making one of my own. It didn't come through, but I got to meet Cody off that experience. He's really
we should bring it back. We should bring back your Jason movie. Let's do it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Maybe we will.
People who aren't, funny next time.
We'll see. Maybe. I think Crystal liked my cover all the things I wanted to do anyway. So there's that. But this was great. This was a ton of fun. Everybody, make sure you go to Lee's channel. If you were here, you probably already subscribed to Lee. But
you know what? Like, let's be honest, right? Lee brought in all the people into the chat, right? They're like, "Who the hell is FLOPBUSTER? Why is he on that channel? What's going on? Let's see."
Why is he on my channel? Why didn't he come on my channel ranking all the Halloween movies? Well, we did it here.
I love you guys' channel name, by the way. It's a cool name. Yeah.
It was we brainstormed that name for quite a bit. Like when Tony was up here in
coming
Chicago,
up with a good name. It is.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
We were just like, what should we call it? And we're like, I don't know. You know,
I'd love on the right one.
I think Jesse came up with it, didn't he? Your cousin?
He
randomly threw it out.
He wants the credit, but we were already on that like trajectory of like, because we both remember Blockbuster. How much fun time we had with that. We were on that trajectory, and then my cousin just like, well, FLOPBUSTER, and I was like, all right, cool, whatever. Let's do it.
Yeah, he definitely wants the credit for it. But thank you all for joining in today. We'll definitely bring back Lee another time, and we'll probably say some more hot button topic things, including how awesome
we're gonna rank
Halloween
all the
Ends
Halloween
is.
franchises. We're gonna rank everything. We're gonna ask what's your top 3 big 3.
I can't wait.
But thank you guys. It was such a great night. This was a lot of fun, and we will see you next time.
All right, thanks.
Bye, everyone.